G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Yes, the undefeated, undeniable, unstoppable Hurricanes winning streak has ended by the Brumbies tonight. And boy, the Brumbies did their homework, and all credits and all congratulations to this Brumbies team and the coaching staff. Really did their homework going into this game. Unlike last week against against the Blues at Eden Park, really wasn't sure what the Brumbies were trying to do. But this week they had a very clear strategy, targeting two key areas of the Hurricanes, and led to this amazing result, 27 points, 19 win over the undefeated table-topping Hurricanes team. Yeah, the number one area that the Brumbies did really well is the kicking game. This is very much a test level style of kicking game, and it's one of those things where when it's executed properly, the result is amazing. When it's executed poorly, you're just like, why are you kicking the ball away? And the one thing that Brumbies was very clear in their intent is to pin the Hurricanes inside their own 22. And there's so many times with the Brumbies, especially going into the second half, managing the territory where the game is played, they were kicking the ball from basically outside the Hurricanes 22 into the 22 and try to force an error out of the Hurricanes. If the Hurricanes don't give away an error, their only option for the Hurricanes at this point is to punt the ball down the field, which is exactly what the Brumbies want, because if you punt the ball down the field, the Brumbies just get the ball and run back. And a lot of these return kicks from the Hurricanes are just uncontestable for their own team, from the Hurricanes themselves. So the Brumbies just run back uncontested 20, 30 meters, right back into your half, into your 40 meter, your 40 meter range. And then it's rinse and repeat, pressure, high ball, a little dink behind into your 22, and try to get an error out of you. If there's an error, great, we go for the 3 points, or we go for the line out. If there is an error, what is your option? Hurricanes, punt it back down the field again, and we're going to just rinse and repeat and run back straight at you. So the kicking game from the Hurricanes really was a little bit poorly managed there for the team. So the right way to do it for the Hurricanes is either do a contestable kick to the halfway point, or to just kick the ball out around the halfway point and on the full, and try to stop the quick line-out throw from the Brumbies. The key here is the kicks from the Hurricanes were not contestable in any way, shape, or form. They're just punting it down the field, giving Tom Wright all the space to work with, and that was one of the biggest areas that the Hurricanes really struggled with, just getting the ball out of the territory outside of their own half. Essentially, was a very, very big issue for the Hurricanes to deal with in this game. Probably exposed by the Brumbies a little bit. So that's the number one area that Brumbies did really well. The number two is the Brumbies' ability to target their key players from the Hurricanes and keep them tied up in the rocks, in the maw, and it's not in the maw, but like tied up in the rocks at the breakdown, and that is getting Jordie Barrett into the tackles. And there's sometimes I look at this game, the work rate from Jordie Barrett was outrageous. Like the amount of tackles that he made, he had turnovers at the breakdowns, probably more than the loose forwards. The involvement that he had around the breakdowns, around the tackling areas. And I just think that, the one of the things that the teams tend to do is to try to tie up your 12 and 13 into the breakdowns. So an attacking team is really one of the goals for the attacking teams with their forwards is to try to run their forwards into your 12 to get your 12 to make the tackle. Because once your 12 is in the breakdown, is tied up in the tackle, your own centers 12 and 13 is now open to run into the opposition defenders, that is forwards. And that's how you create space to go forward. So if Jordie Barrett makes a tackle on a lock, right, suddenly the Brumbies two centers is up against the Hurricanes forwards in the defense. And that's how you go forward. That's how teams create that forward momentum, to create that space to score tries. And Jordie Barrett was being tied up at every third tackle that was involved in it, and it was just really there wasn't that considering how many kicking game that was happening on the field, Jordie Barrett really shouldn't be making this amount of tackles. Shouldn't really be, there wasn't that many tackles that needs to be made on the field, and that's when another reason why the kicking game was so efficient for the for the Brumbies because Jordie Barrett is also a key player involved in that kicking game. By tying him up at the breakdown, right? They only have, Ruben Love and, Cameron at the back to manage the kicking game, and they're Jordie Barrett is the most experienced and has the biggest boot as well on the field. So a lot of that little bit of that key area where they're targeted, the key personnel they're targeted for the Brumbies is a really, really good indicator to me that the Brumbies did their homework, really, really studied the Hurricanes, and put out this really, really, really good performance. And in terms of outstanding players of this game, I thought Ruben Love was always amazing for the Hurricanes, looked dangerous. That counter-attack from him was just looked so dangerous for the Hurricanes. Could have probably scored. Looked like he was going to score every time he got the ball. He did set up one try from a poor kick from the Brumbies. And then the Tom Wright from the Brumbies was, amazing. Now, sometimes you look at him, he's like still. He's not even moving. He's just like walking, looks like almost like. And suddenly he's like put a footwork in and then runs through a little gap. Just really, really good work from Tom Wright as well. It's really, he's stepped up another level with this game, which I was really happy to see. So big returns this game as well for the Brumbies. Alatoa came back, incredible. I thought he like the scrummaging was struggling a little bit. The Hurricanes probably could have targeted that a little bit more against the Brumbies in the scrummaging. But they weren't like the kicking game from the Brumbies was just a little bit too much, and I think the Hurricanes also probably. The handling errors from the Hurricanes was another thing that they hurt themselves a little bit, giving the Brumbies that opportunity to control the game. When they finally got themselves out and into the Brumbies half, and then they just like knocked the ball on, that's something that they have to look at that as well. And with that being said, let's have a look at the match stats and summaries. So we've got what's going on here. Let's just refresh this. Here we go. 3 tries apiece. Is it 3 tries apiece? Yeah, 3 tries apiece. But the difference came down to the penalties. Like I said, the Brumbies controlling the right territories, forcing those penalties, and Lolasio was happy to just take 3 points once they were ahead. Pretty standard, game plan from the Brumbies anyway. 3 points apiece, 697 run meters to 321. Wow, the Brumbies really just... This is, why the run meter is so high? It's because of the poor kicking game, right? The Hurricanes kick the ball down the field. The Brumbies just get the ball, and it's like, all right, there's no one's here. I'm just going to run 30 meters and then see what happens, right? It's just like free 30 meters every time someone punts the ball down the field. And that is why the run meters are so incredibly high for the Brumbies. Turnovers conceded, 12 against the Brumbies, 17 against Hurricanes. Tackles, 95 for the Brumbies, 12 tackles made. The Hurricanes, 172 tackles made, 41 missed tackles. That is ridiculously high for the Hurricanes as well. Kicks in play, 33, 26, 33 for the Brumbies, 26 for the Hurricanes, 1 missed conversion, 1 missed penalty for Lolasio, hitting the goalpost from 40 meter out, bit of an angle, and a little bit unfortunate there, but turned out could have been a big difference, turning point, but luckily the Brumbies was able to manage the game and finishing it off, not really allowing the Hurricanes for that burst of energy for a comeback. 18 lineouts won for the Brumbies, 3 lineouts lost for the Hurricanes as well. Like, just under pressure stuff. I thought the Brumbies lineout has always been really good, especially in contesting the opposition lineout. This is something that even against the Blues at Eden Park, they did really well. Again, this was shown, against the Brumbies. And this is probably one of the reasons they're happy to kick the ball behind. But I feel like with this sort of stats, like if you have 3 lineouts stolen against 13, almost like, 25% lineouts stolen from your opposition, you can probably, instead of just like kick the ball behind in a little bit of a little high ball over the top into the 22, they probably could just grab a kick behind and put the ball like out of bound and then let your opposition to do a defensive lineout throw, 5 meters from their own try line. Because the probability of you stealing that is so high. That could be a strategy that I think better than just a little chip over the top that Brumbies has been doing in this game. That would be a better option for the Brumbies in terms of those kicking game going there. The scrums, Brumbies 1 scrum loss. I thought like I said, Alan Alatoa returning was under the pump a little bit. In fact, under the pump a lot, especially in the first half. But we'll see him get back into the rhythm of things. Penalties conceded, 8 against the Brumbies, 9 against the Hurricanes. Discipline-wise, both teams were pretty decent, but the Hurricanes, like I said, the penalties were given out in kicking range for the Brumbies, and that is the beauty of the kicking game that Brumbies employed tonight. Really, really well executed, keeping the gameplay in the right areas. Now, let's quickly go through the recap. So, 4 minutes into the game, the Brumbies got themselves scored on the try. Just lots of pressure. They had a penalty. They went for the 5-meter line out. They went for the maul, got really close, and then just quick ball, a flat pass from Nolligan to Lolosio right on the, like, they kind of like switched back to the blind side, and Lolosio was lining him up down the blind side. So it just flat past Lolosio on the wing, try into the corner. 7 points to the nil. Lolosio kicked this one from the sideline as well. 11 minutes into the game, the Hurricanes strikes back. Relentless pressure from the Hurricanes, just quick balls. There was penalties. They went for lineouts. They went for the mauls. And there was 1 meter short from the Hurricanes after the maul. TJ Perenara threw a pass. It looked like there was potential knock on, but it was very unclear on TV. The ball kind of like bounced on the ground and then scooped up by one of the by Numia from the Hurricanes. Crashed over for the try. 7 points to 5. Miss conversion there for the Hurricanes. 15 minutes into the game, the Brumbies gives himself another try on the board. Tua had got the ball like, center field, just a little dummy and go. Lots of missed tackles from Hurricanes straight through the middle and tried for the Brumbies. 14 points to 5. 18 minutes into the game, the Brumbies again much faster breakdown, a lot more urgency than they had last week. Pick and go, quick options, and the ball kind of like they were kind of like going on the open side, and then they quickly switched back to blind side. And Tom Wright was just like, really nice angle. He threw a ball to pass to Valentini, and Valentini I think it was like an inside ball back to Tom Wright or something. And then there was another ball outside to Sapsford down the sideline. Try time for the Brumbies. 21 points to 5. And then 26 minutes into the game, another penalty against the Hurricanes. Brumbies takes 3 points. 24 points to 5. And then 31 minutes into the game, just shy of half time, Hurricanes started building, going back to their bread and butter. Went for the scrum, had the scrum dominance. They had Lolosio was caught offside, so the Hurricanes went for the lineouts, and then just quick pick and go. A lot of short balls from the breakdowns, got really close to the try line, and eventually, nice little crash ball from Numia again for the second try. 12 points to 24. Hurricanes. Halftime score, 12 points to 24. The Brumbies was pretty adventurous before the halftime, trying to go for the try, but the Hurricanes was able to hold out just in front of their try line. Second half started. 4 minutes in the second half, the Brumbies was putting a lot of pressure once again on the Hurricanes. Some good kicking game, and then getting that penalty right away, taking the 3 points, 27 points to 12. 45 minutes into the game, there was just a really poor kicking from the Brumbies this time. Just a high ball, loopy high ball down the center of the hill, like a box kick. Like, it literally went right in the middle of the field. Ruben Love ran up, caught the ball on full speed. A bunch of missed tackles. He offloaded the ball to Rayasi. Again, more missed tackles from the Brumbies. They were like caught asleep or something. And then just good hands down the wing. And Jordie Barrett was right down the wing in for the try. 27 points to 19. And 45 minutes into the game. So the Brumbies made a few mistakes after this. There was a they had a short on penalty. Sorry, they had an option for like a line out and then a scrum. They went for the scrum and then they ended up losing that scrum. Tom Wright was a little bit of cheeky play from Tom Wright at this point, where one of the players tackled him and he just like trapped his hand under his armpit. So the guy kind of like was, I can't actually get my hand, but like he kind of trapped his hand on his armpit, but from the other way around, and then basically had the ball trapped the opposition hand with the ball with his armpit and forced the penalty there. I thought it was really, really smart there by Tom Wright. And 63 minutes into the game, Tom Hooper found himself a little gap, powered through, and he was held up over the try line by Jordie Barrett, right? So get this. This is what I was talking about. Jordie Barrett probably doing like way too much, and I think the Hurricanes team wasn't really, was not doing the workload that they should be doing some of the players on the field, because Jordie Barrett held up this try, right? He kicked the ball down the field, and then he was the one making the first tackle. So he literally did like everything in literally like the 2-3 minutes that everything occurred in around this period just by himself, holding up the ball, drop, goal line dropout, and then he makes the tackle immediately from his own goal line dropout. Like, this is what I was talking about. Like, he's just probably making way too much. And that's the thing, because that goal line dropout tackle should have been made by a forward and not by Jordie Barrett himself. And because it's just I think it's just one of the Hurricanes not managing the workload properly. 72 minutes, Blake Stroop hurt himself in the shoulder, and this is something that I've kind of been talking about in the past few videos. There's like an ongoing theme to speed up the game, and there was a few times not a few times. There's a lot of times this year in Super Rugby, especially when the scrum collapses, the referee just says, "All right, screw it, let's get the ball out and play on." And that's very dangerous, because we're still right here. Blake Stroop had his shoulder caught in an awkward position. Referee just said, "All right, just get the ball out and play on," instead of actually stopping the scrum and resetting it in a dangerous position. And Blake Stroop hurt his shoulder. So there's something that the Super Rugby need to think about. Like, really, they're putting a lot of the players' well-being, just trying to speed the game up, and I just don't think that's the way to go about it. Anyway, 77 minutes into the game, again, the Hurricanes was just trying to get themselves out of their own half. The Brumbies was really smart, managing, setting up more to slow the game down, getting that scrum, kicking the ball in the right territory, and then eventually running the clock down to close out the game. 27 points to 19. Yeah, the last points for this game was scored at 45 minutes. So there was 35 minutes of the last period where no points were scored by either team. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, no points were scored after 45 minutes, 45 minutes after Jordie Barrett scored this try. So yeah, that's the game, guys. Let me know your thoughts about the performance of both teams. I'm really happy for the Brumbies, because they've, unlike last week against the Blues, I'm very, very pleased to see that they did their homework this week. And good results for the Brumbies. And thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. And see you guys a bit later. Cheers.